Suji walked with quick steps through the gleaming hallways of Orion Station. The massive space station served as home to thousands of beings from across the galaxy. Humans were just one of many species here, and not a particularly respected one. She checked her tablet one more time before the meeting. As the station's lead xenobiologist, she had to present her findings to the Diplomatic Council today. Her research would not make everyone happy, especially not Ambassador Krell. "Are you sure about this?" asked Mina, her assistant, hurrying to. "Keep up. The data doesn't lie," Suji replied. "The Dravak are destroying the planet's ecosystem. Someone has to speak up." The two women passed through a security checkpoint, where a blue-skinned Thanari guard waved them through after scanning their ID chips. Suji straightened her formal jacket and touched the small pendant around her neck, a gift from her husband, Teho, on their 5th wedding anniversary. "I wish Teho could be here," Mina said quietly. Suji shook her head. "He has his own meeting today. Military stuff. Very secret." She smiled slightly. "Besides, I can handle Krell." The council chamber door slid open, revealing a large circular room. In the center stood a round table with representatives from 12 different species. Floating light panels illuminated everything, casting a soft glow on the diverse collection of aliens. Suji spotted Ambassador Krell immediately. The Dravak was hard to miss, over 7 feet tall with dark green scales covering his massive body. His species came from a low-gravity world, allowing them to grow larger than humans. They were known for their strength and their tempers. "Dr. Kim," greeted Director Zara, the Fenari chairperson. "We're ready for your report." Suji bowed slightly and took her place at the presentation podium. Her heart beat faster, but she kept her face calm. 5 years working among aliens had taught her to hide her emotions. "Honorable representatives," she began, "I'm here to present my findings on the ecological changes to shared world JX-42. The room darkened as her slides appeared in the air above the table. Charts and images of a beautiful green planet rotated slowly. JX-42 was designated as a joint colony for Dravak and Fenari settlers 6 years ago. Suji continued. "My team has been monitoring the ecosystem balance since then." She tapped her control pad and the image changed to show barren, damaged landscapes. "In the past year, we've recorded a 40% decline in native plant species and a 60% drop in animal populations. The cause is clear: illegal mining operations in protected zones." A murmur ran through the chamber. Suji pressed on, showing more evidence: satellite images with timestamps, soil samples, and chemical analysis. "The mining is releasing toxic compounds that destroy the planet's life, and all evidence points to Dravak-owned companies as responsible." Ambassador Krell's scales darkened, a sign of anger in his species. He slammed a large fist on the table. "This is ridiculous," he growled. "Human error in your research, nothing more." Suji stayed calm. "With respect, Ambassador, the evidence is clear. I've included all raw data in my report for your scientists to review." "Your primitive human technology is flawed," Krell said, his voice rising. "Everyone knows humans are barely space-capable. Why should we trust your findings?" Director Zara raised a slender hand. "Ambassador Krell, personal attacks are not permitted in council." Suji nodded thanks to the chairperson and continued. "We've discovered mining operations here, here, and here." She highlighted areas on the map, all in zones that were specifically protected in the colony agreement. She then showed chemical samples. "These toxins match exactly with byproducts from Dravak mining technology. We've verified this with 3 independent labs." Krell stood up, towering over the other representatives. His tail swished angrily behind him. "This human is trying to damage our reputation," he roared. "The Dravak Confederacy follows all agreements." Suji remained professional. "The evidence suggests otherwise, Ambassador. We're not assigning blame, merely presenting facts. These operations must stop before permanent damage is done." "Facts?" Krell hissed. "I'll tell you facts. Humans are weak. Your species barely survived your own pollution on Earth. Now you lecture. Others?" Director Zara tried to intervene. Ambassador, please. No, Krell interrupted. I will not be lectured by a species that needed our technology to even reach the stars. Suji took a deep breath. This isn't about species, Ambassador. It's about protecting a shared world. The agreement your government signed clearly prohibits. Enough, Krell roared. What happened next shocked everyone in the room. Ambassador Krell moved with surprising speed for his size. He stepped forward and swung his massive hand, striking Suji across the face. The force of the blow knocked her completely off her feet. She crashed against the podium and fell to the floor, her tablet sliding across the smooth surface. A small trickle of blood ran from her lip. The room froze in stunned silence. Physical violence was strictly forbidden on Orion Station, especially in diplomatic chambers. Even Krell seemed shocked by his own action. Station security, 2 Arcsuri with their distinctive forearms, rushed forward, hands on their weapons. Other council members stood in alarm. Ambassador Krell. Director Zara's voice cut through the chaos. You have violated the most basic rule of this station. Security. Escort the ambassador to his quarters. He is confined there until further notice. The Dravak looked down at Suji, who was being helped to her feet by Mina. Instead of showing regret, Krell laughed. Confined to quarters? For striking a human? Hardly a punishment. He flexed his scaled hand. I've hurt myself worse scratching an itch. As security approached, Krell held up his hands. No need for escorts. I know the way. He looked around the room. This meeting was a waste of time anyway. Before leaving, he looked down at Suji one more time. Next time, send someone from a real species to question Dravak honor. After he had gone, medical staff rushed to Suji. Her cheek was already swelling, and a scanner showed a small fracture in her cheekbone. We need to get you to medical, a Thanari medic said gently. As they helped her toward the door, Director Zara approached. Dr. Kim, I am deeply sorry. This is unprecedented. Ambassador Krell will face serious consequences. Suji touched her swollen face and winced. Director, please make sure my full report is still reviewed by the council. Of course, Zara promised, but now please get treated. As Suji was led away, she heard council members already arguing about how to respond to this incident. New station rules allowed for several possible actions against Krell, but none seemed sufficient. In the corridor, Mina squeezed her arm. Should we call Taiho? Suji thought about her husband, his quiet strength, his controlled manner. She thought about what he really was, what most aliens on this station didn't understand about humans. No, she said finally. He'll find out soon enough. As the medical team guided her into a transport lift, Suji added softly, and then Ambassador Krell will learn what it really means to attack a human's mate. Taiho sat in a small, secure room deep inside Orion Station. 5 other humans sat with him around a table. They all wore simple gray uniforms with small pins that marked them as military advisors to the Galactic Confederation. On the wall, a screen showed maps of nearby star systems. Captain Lee, their commander, pointed to a red dot. The Dravak have moved 3 more warships to this sector, he said. They claim it's just a training exercise. Taiho made notes on his tablet. Like the others in the room, he appeared calm and focused. These 6 humans were not what they seemed. They were not simple advisors. They were soldiers, the best Earth had to offer, placed on Orion Station as a quiet warning to the other species. Their ships are big but slow, said Jin, the weapons specialist. Our new fighters could run circles around them. Captain Lee nodded. True, but remember... A soft beep interrupted him. Taiho looked down at his wrist communicator. A message. Flashed. Medical emergency. Suji Kim. Level 3 trauma. The room fell silent as everyone noticed the change in Taiho's face. It was subtle, just a slight tightening around his eyes, a new tension in his jaw. But to those who knew him, it was like watching a storm gather. Taiho? Captain Lee asked. It's Suji, he said, his voice flat. She's in medical, level 3 trauma. The other humans exchanged glances. They all knew Suji was presenting to the diplomatic council today. A level 3 trauma meant someone had hurt her badly enough to break bones. Go, Captain Lee said simply. Tae-ho stood, his movements precise and controlled. Thank you, sir. I'll report back when I know more. As he left the room, Captain Lee called after him. Remember the protocols, Lieutenant? Tae-ho did not answer. He walked quickly through the corridors, his mind racing. The station's computer would have alerted him automatically if Suji were injured accidentally. A level 3 notification meant something different. Someone had attacked his wife. People moved out of his way as he walked. Even aliens who considered humans weak could sense something dangerous in his stride. Tae-ho entered a lift and pressed the button for the medical level. Warning, said the station AI. Your heart rate is elevated. Would you like a calming suggestion? No, Tae-ho said. The lift doors opened, and he stepped into the medical center. The main desk was staffed by a Fenari nurse with pale blue skin and 4 eyes. I'm here for Suji Kim, he said. The Fenari checked her screen. Ah, yes, room 12. But sir, she's with the doctor now. Tae-ho was already walking past her. The nurse started to object, then saw his military advisor pin and stayed quiet. Humans might be considered weak by many species, but their military personnel were treated with caution. He found room 12 and entered without knocking. Suji sat on an examination table while a human doctor scanned her face. Half her face was swollen and turning purple. A small device was pressed against her cheekbone, sending healing pulses into the fracture. Suji looked up and tried to smile, but winced instead. Tae-ho, I figured you'd be here soon. The doctor glanced at Tae-ho, then back to Suji. I'll give you 2 a minute, she said, stepping out. Tae-ho moved to Suji's side. He touched her hand gently, his eyes taking in every detail of her injury. What happened, he asked, his voice too calm. Ambassador Krell didn't like my report, Suji said. He hit me in front of the entire council. Tae-ho was silent for a moment. Then he asked, The Dravak ambassador hit you? Suji nodded. He lost his temper when I showed proof his people were breaking the mining treaty. And security? They confined him to his quarters. Suji touched her husband's arm. That's all they can do without a formal complaint. Tae-ho's eyes grew hard. Most humans believed they had evolved from primates. But right now, Suji could see the predator in her husband's gaze. I'll file a complaint, he said. Suji knew what that meant. She and Tae-ho had met at university on Earth. She had fallen in love with a brilliant, kind man who happened to serve in Earth's special forces. What she learned later was that he was part of a program that sent elite human soldiers to space disguised as advisors and diplomats. Tae-ho, she said softly, you know the rules. I do, he replied. Better than Krell, apparently. The door opened, and Director Zara entered. The Fenari official looked distressed, her 4 eyes blinking rapidly. Lieutenant Kim, she said to Tae-ho, I came as soon as I heard you were here. I want to personally apologize for what happened to your wife. Ambassador Krell's behavior was unacceptable. Tae-ho turned to face her. What is being done about it? Director Zara spread her slender hands. He is confined to quarters while we contact the Dravak government. They will likely recall him to face discipline. Likely? Tae-ho's voice remained quiet. And how long will that take? Diplomatic processes can be slow, Zara admitted. Perhaps a few weeks. Tae-ho looked back at Suji, then to the director. I'll be filing a formal complaint under Section 47 of the station charter. Director Zara's skin paled to a lighter blue. Section 47, but that's the right to seek personal redress. Tae-ho finished for her. It's my right as the spouse of the injured party. But Lieutenant, that section is rarely used. It was included mainly because the Dravak insisted on having a way to settle personal disputes when they joined the Confederation. How appropriate, Tae-ho said. The director looked nervously between the 2 humans. Lieutenant, I understand you're upset, but Ambassador Krell is nearly 3 times your size. The Dravak evolved on a low-gravity world. Their physical strength is... I'm aware of Dravak physiology, Tae-ho interrupted. I've studied all species on this station. Suji touched her husband's arm again. Are you sure about this? Taeho looked at her injured face, his expression softening slightly. What do you want me to do? Suji thought for a moment, then said, Show them what humanity really is. He nodded, understanding completely. Then he turned back to the nervous director. I'll submit the formal complaint within the hour, he said. Please inform Ambassador Krell. Director Zara's four eyes blinked rapidly. Very well, but I must warn you, once filed, a Section 47 complaint cannot be withdrawn. I'm counting on that, Taeho replied. After the director left, Suji and Taeho were alone again. The healing device beeped and Suji removed it from her face. The swelling had gone down slightly. The doctor says I'll be fully healed in about 3 days, she said. Taeho nodded. Good. That's when I'll schedule the challenge. The whole station will be watching, Suji warned. That's the point. Taeho sat beside her on the examination table. Humans have been in space for 30 years now. For 30 years we've let them think we're weak. Maybe it's time they learned the truth. Suji leaned against his shoulder. Captain Lee won't be happy about this. Probably not, Taeho agreed. But some things are more important than keeping secrets. Later, as they walked back to their quarters, they passed 2 Dravak diplomats in the corridor. The aliens towered over them, their scaled bodies massive and intimidating. One of them smirked down at Suji's bruised face. Taeho kept walking, his face showing nothing, but Suji felt his arm, tense under her hand. 3 days, he whispered to her. In 3 days, everything changes. News spread quickly on Orion Station. By the next morning, everyone knew that a human military advisor had filed a Section 47 complaint against Ambassador Krell of the Dravak. The station buzzed with talk about it. Captain Lee called Taeho to his office early. The captain did not look happy. You've created quite a situation, Lieutenant, he said, closing the door behind Taeho. I followed station protocol, sir. Taeho stood straight, hands behind his back. Captain Lee sighed. Section 47 hasn't been used in 5 years, and never by a human against a Dravak. He looked directly at Taeho. Do you understand what you're doing? Yes, sir. I'm standing up for my wife. You're also potentially exposing our real capabilities. The captain looked troubled. Earth Command won't be pleased. Taeho remained still. With respect, Captain, I don't plan to lose. That's what worries me. Captain Lee walked to his desk and tapped a small screen. Station security footage shows Ambassador Krell striking Dr. Kim. The evidence is clear. You could have pushed for his removal from the station. Why take it this far? Because Suji was right, it's time they learned the truth about us. The captain was quiet for a moment. Then he asked, How much truth are you planning to show? Just enough, Taeho replied. Captain Lee nodded slowly. Very well. But remember, you represent all of humanity out here. Whatever you do will affect how they see all of us. I understand. Sir, dismissed. Taeho left the office and made his way to the station's central administration. He needed to formally schedule the challenge. The administrative center was busy with people and aliens of all kinds. At the main desk sat a tall, thin alien with gray skin, an Arcsuri named Javix. Lieutenant Kim, Javix said, blinking his large eyes. I've been expecting you. Taeho wasn't surprised. Javix handled all Section 47 filings. I need to schedule the formal challenge, Taeho said. Javix nodded and pulled up a screen. Section 47 requires a 3-day waiting period after filing. The earliest available time would be tomorrow at 1400 hours. That's fine. The station combat arena will be prepared. Javix looked up from his screen. Standard rules apply. No weapons, no killing. Fight ends when one party submits or is unable to continue. Understood. Both parties must sign these forms. Javix handed over a tablet. Ambassador Krell has already signed his. Taeho read through the document carefully, then pressed his thumb to the signature box. Javix looked at him with what seemed like concern. Lieutenant, you understand that medical assistance will be available, but the station cannot prevent serious injury during a Section 47 challenge. I understand. Very well, it's official. Javix made some notes. All station residents will be notified. You may use Training Room 3 today if you wish to prepare. Tejo nodded and left. As he walked through the corridors, he noticed aliens looking at him. Some seemed curious, others amused. A group of Dravak diplomats laughed as he passed. Look at the tiny human, one said loudly. He'll be crushed tomorrow. Tejo ignored them and continued walking. He had work to do. Later that day, Suji found him in Training Room 3. Tejo was moving through a series of exercises, his body flowing smoothly from one position to another. He wore only loose pants, his upper body covered in sweat. Suji watched him for a moment. Her face was still bruised but much better than yesterday. The fracture was healing well. The whole station is talking about you, she said. Tejo completed a movement before stopping. Are they taking bets yet? Suji smiled. Yes, the odds are 20-1 against you. Good odds for anyone betting on me. Suji walked closer. Mina told me Ambassador Krell has been bragging all day. He says he'll try not to kill you too quickly. Tejo reached for a towel and wiped his face. He's in for a surprise. The other human residents are worried about you, Suji said. Most of them don't know what you really are. Most humans on this station are scientists and diplomats, Tejo replied. They've never seen soldiers like us in action. Suji touched his arm. His muscles were hard as stone beneath her fingers. Are you worried? Tejo thought for a moment. Not about the fight, but I am concerned about what happens after. What do you mean? Once they see what a human can really do, things will change. Suji understood. For decades, humans had kept their true physical abilities secret. When Earth first joined the Galactic Confederation, they learned that most alien species thought humans were physically weak. Earth's military leaders decided to keep it that way. Let the aliens underestimate humans. It gave them an advantage. Maybe change is good, Suji said. Tejo nodded. Maybe. He picked up a weight from the floor, a heavy metal bar that would be difficult for most humans to lift. He bent it slightly with his hands, then straightened it again. I received a message from Earth Command, he said. They're not happy about this challenge. What did they say? They told me to lose. Suji looked shocked. Lose? On purpose? They want to keep our secret a little longer. Tejo set the bar down. But I told them I couldn't do that. What was their response? They said if I win, I should make it look difficult, make it seem like I barely managed it. Suji frowned. But Krell hurt me in front of everyone. He laughed about it. I know. Tejo's voice was calm, but his eyes were not. That's why I told them I would follow my own judgment. Suji was quiet for a moment. Then she asked, What will you do? What needs to be done? Tejo picked up his shirt. The aliens need to learn that humans aren't to be taken lightly, especially the Dravak. That evening, they ate dinner in the station's main food hall. All around them, people and aliens talked about tomorrow's challenge. Some fell silent when they saw Tejo and Suji. A group of station security officers, 2 humans and an Arcsuri, stopped at their table. Good luck tomorrow, Lieutenant, said one of the humans, a woman named Hana. We'll be watching. Thank you, Tejo replied. After they left, Suji leaned forward. They think you're going to lose. Most people do, Tejo said calmly, eating his food. At that moment, Ambassador Krell entered the hall with 5 other Dravak. The huge aliens took a table nearby, deliberately sitting where Tejo and Suji could see them. Krell pointed at Tejo and said something to his companions. They all laughed loudly. Suji tensed, but Tejo placed his hand over hers. It's fine, he said quietly. Let them laugh now. I hate how they look at us, Suji whispered. Like we're nothing. Tomorrow they'll look differently. Tejo finished his meal. Are you ready to go? Suji nodded, and they stood to leave. As they passed the Dravak table, Ambassador Krell stuck out his foot, nearly tripping Suji. "Sorry," he said with a mock bow. "I didn't see you down there, tiny human." Taeho steadied Suji, then looked directly at Krell. He said nothing, just stared at the alien for 3 long seconds. Something in Taeho's gaze made Krell's smile fade slightly, but then the ambassador recovered and laughed again. "Save your stares for tomorrow, human," he said. "They won't help you then." Taeho and Suji walked away, ignoring the continued laughter behind them. Back in their quarters, Suji watched as Taeho prepared for bed. "Are you nervous at all?" she asked. Taeho thought about it. "Not about fighting Krell," he said finally. "But I am thinking about all the humans on this station and what tomorrow will mean for them." Suji understood. After tomorrow, aliens would see humans differently. "Get some sleep," she said, kissing him gently. "Tomorrow is a big day." Taeho nodded and closed his eyes. But Suji stayed awake a little longer, watching her husband. Tomorrow, everyone would see what she had always known, that humans were far more than they seemed. The day of the challenge arrived. By noon, the combat arena was packed with spectators. The arena was a large circular room with rows of seats rising up around a central fighting area. The floor of the fighting space was covered with soft blue, material that could absorb impact. Suji sat in the front row next to Captain Lee and the other human military advisors. Across the arena, Ambassador Krell's supporters gathered, mostly other Dravakan species who were their allies. "Half the station must be here," Suji said, looking around. Captain Lee nodded. "Section 47 challenges are rare. Everyone wants to see this one. Because they think Taeho will lose," Suji said quietly. Captain Lee looked at her. "Your husband knows what he's doing. Trust him." At exactly 1400 hours, a loud tone sounded. Director Zara stepped into the center of the arena. The crowd fell silent. "Today we witness a Section 47 challenge," she announced, "filed by Lieutenant Taeho Kim against Ambassador Krell of the Dravak Confederacy." She looked around the room. All station rules apply. The challenge ends when one party submits or is unable to continue. Medical teams are standing by. She stepped back. Combatants enter the arena. 2 doors on opposite sides of the arena opened. From one side, Ambassador Krell strode in. The massive alien wore minimal clothing, just a simple covering around his waist. His green scales gleamed under the lights. Muscles rippled across his 7-foot frame as he raised his arms, and his supporters cheered. From the other door, Taeho entered. He wore only loose black pants, his upper body bare. Compared to Krell, he looked small, just under 6 feet tall with a lean build. The humans in the crowd watched nervously. Some aliens whispered and pointed, wondering why such a small being would challenge a Dravak. Director Zara motioned both combatants to the center. "Face each other," she instructed. Taeho and Krell stood 3 feet apart. The size difference was striking. Krell towered over the human, his body nearly 3 times as wide. "Last chance to withdraw your challenge, human," Krell said loudly, enough for everyone to hear. "I might only break a few of your bones if you beg nicely." Taeho said nothing. His face remained calm, his breathing steady. "Combatants acknowledge the rules," Director Zara said. "I acknowledge," Krell said with a toothy grin. "I acknowledge," Taeho said simply. Director Zara stepped back. "Begin when the signal sounds." She moved quickly out of the arena. A tense silence fell over the crowd. 3 seconds later, a loud tone rang out. Krell didn't waste time. He rushed forward with surprising speed for his size, swinging a massive fist directly at Taeho's head. Everyone expected the human to dodge or retreat. Instead, Taeho stepped forward. His arm came up in a blur of motion, blocking Krell's punch. The impact made a loud thud, but Taeho didn't move. His arm held firm against Krell's much larger one. A confused murmur ran through the crowd. Even Krell looked surprised. Taking advantage of the alien's confusion, Taeho moved. He stepped inside Krell's reach and delivered a sharp blow to the ambassador's midsection. The punch landed with enough force to make Krell grunt in pain. The Dravak stepped back, eyes wide with shock. Then anger replaced surprise and he attacked again, throwing a series of powerful punches. Each one should have flattened the smaller human, but Tejo was no longer where the punches landed. He moved with incredible speed, dodging or blocking each blow. His movements were fluid and precise, unlike anything the aliens had seen from a human before. "What's happening?" someone in the crowd asked. "How is the human so fast?" Suji smiled. Now they were beginning to understand. Krell grew frustrated. "Stand still and fight," he roared. Tejo obliged. He stopped moving and stood his ground as Krell charged forward. This time, instead of dodging, Tejo met the charge head-on. When they collided, it was the massive alien who staggered backward. The arena fell silent in shock. Krell recovered and looked at Tejo with new caution. "What are you?" he growled. "Human," Tejo replied simply, and then he attacked. What followed stunned everyone watching. Tejo moved with speed that made him blur in the vision of many species. His strikes were precise and powerful, landing exactly where he aimed. Each blow made Krell step back. The Dravak tried to use his size and weight, attempting to grapple and crush the smaller opponent, but Tejo was too quick. And when Krell did manage to grab him, Tejo demonstrated strength that seemed impossible for his size. In one dramatic moment, Krell wrapped both arms around Tejo, trying to squeeze the life from him. The crowd gasped, certain the human would be crushed. Instead, Tejo broke the hold by simply spreading his arms. The muscles in his body flexed with extraordinary power, forcing Krell's grip open. "Impossible," gasped an alien near Suji. "No human should be that strong. That's what you've been led to believe," Suji replied without taking her eyes off the fight. Krell was tiring now. His movements grew slower, his breathing heavy. Green blood dripped from several cuts on his face and body. In contrast, Tejo looked barely winded. Desperate, Krell reached down and grabbed a handful of the arena floor covering, tearing it loose. He threw it at Tejo's face, a clear violation of the rules. Tejo simply batted it away and shook his head. "That won't help you." With renewed fury, Krell charged again. This time, Tejo didn't move aside. Instead, he stepped forward, meeting the charge directly. When they collided, Tejo did something that would be talked about on Orion Station for years to come. He lifted Krell off the ground. The 7-foot, 400-pound alien was hoisted into the air by the human's strength alone. Tejo held him there for 3 seconds, letting everyone see, then slammed Krell down onto the arena floor with enough force to knock the wind from the alien's lungs. Before Krell could recover, Tejo was on him, pinning him down with one arm, across his throat. The hold wasn't hard enough to choke, but it made the message clear. The fight was over. "Submit," Tejo said calmly. Krell struggled but couldn't break free. His eyes were wide with disbelief. "How?" he gasped. "Humans are weak." "Another mistake you made," Tejo replied. "Submit or I'll demonstrate more of what humans can do." The arena was completely silent. Everyone watched, barely breathing, as the Dravak ambassador, a being feared throughout the station for his strength and temper, struggled uselessly against a human half his size. Finally, Krell stopped fighting. "I submit," he growled. Tejo immediately released him and stood up. He stepped back, his face calm as if he had done nothing remarkable. Director Zara hurried forward, her 4 eyes blinking rapidly in astonishment. "The challenge is complete," she announced. "Lieutenant Kim is the victor." The silence broke as the crowd erupted in chaos. Most couldn't believe what they had just seen. The humans in the audience were cheering wildly, while many aliens sat in stunned silence. Tejo walked to the center of the arena and looked around at the audience. When he spoke, his voice carried to every corner. "My wife is a scientist," he said. "I am just an advisor. Consider what would happen if we sent our soldiers." Then he turned and walked calmly out of the arena, leaving behind a station full of aliens who suddenly realized they had badly misjudged humanity. 3 days after the challenge, Suji returned to her laboratory. Her face was fully healed now, with only a faint yellowish mark where the bruise had been. As she walked through Orion Station's corridors, she noticed how differently aliens looked At her before, many had ignored her or looked down at her. Now they moved aside, giving her extra space. Some even nodded respectfully. It wasn't just her. All humans on the station were being treated differently. When she reached her lab, her assistant Mina rushed over. "Suji, how are you feeling?" Mina asked, examining her face. "Completely healed," Suji replied with a smile. "What did I miss?" Mina's eyes widened. "Everything has changed. The council reviewed your report immediately after the challenge. They've ordered all Dravak mining operations on JX-42 to stop until a full investigation is done." "Really? That was fast." Mina nodded eagerly. "And that's not all. 3 other species have asked to work with our research team now. They say they value human perspectives more than before." Suji understood what that meant. After seeing what Teho could do, aliens were reassessing everything they thought they knew about humans. "Has anyone mentioned the challenge?" Suji asked. "It's all anyone talks about," Mina said. "There's video of it everywhere. Some aliens are saying the fight must have been rigged. Others are asking if all humans are as strong as your husband." Suji set her bag down at her desk. "And what do you tell them?" "I say I don't know," Mina replied. "Is it true? Are all humans like Taiho?" Suji considered how to answer. "Not all, but many could be with the right training. Earth is different from most worlds. Our gravity is stronger, our environment harsher than most aliens realize." As they spoke, a message appeared on Suji's screen. It was from the Fenari Science Council, requesting her to lead a new joint research project. The message mentioned her valuable human insights 3 times. "See?" Mina pointed at the screen. "Everyone wants to work with humans now." Suji opened her research files. "Let's get back to work. We have a planet to save." Across the station, Teho sat in Captain Lee's office with the other human military advisors. The captain did not look happy. "Earth Command is not pleased," he said. "You were supposed to make it look difficult, Lieutenant." "With respect, sir, I did what was necessary," Teho replied. Captain Lee sighed. "The recording of your fight has spread to every Confederation world. The secret is out. Humans are not the weak species everyone thought." Jin, the weapons specialist, spoke up. "Is that really so bad, sir?" "Maybe it's better this way. No more hiding what we can do." "Maybe," the captain admitted. "But it changes our position out here. Earth Command is sending new instructions. Until they arrive, we're all confined to the station." Teho nodded, accepting this. He had known there would be consequences. "What about Ambassador Krell?" he asked. "Recalled to the Dravak homeworld in disgrace," Captain Lee said. "The Dravak government has sent a formal apology to your wife, along with compensation. They're desperate to avoid any more incidents with humans." The meeting ended, and Teho walked through the station toward his quarters. As he passed the central garden area, he noticed a group of alien children watching him with wide eyes. One small Arcsuri child stepped forward. "Are you the human who beat the big Dravak?" the child asked. Teho nodded. "I am. My father says humans are from a death world. Is that true?" Teho knelt down to be at eye level with the child. "Earth is just different from your world. What's easy for us might be hard for you. What's easy for you might be hard for us." The child seemed to think about this. "Like how you can be strong but I can see in the dark?" "Exactly." Teho smiled. He continued on his way, noticing how aliens watched him pass. Some seemed afraid, others curious, but none looked down on him as they once had. In the station's main communication center, Director Zara was having a difficult conversation with the Galactic Confederation Council. 6 alien faces filled the screens before her. "We were never informed of human physical capabilities," one council member said angrily. "This information was deliberately withheld." "Just as your species hid your telepathic abilities when you first joined," Director Zara replied calmly. "All species keep some secrets, especially at first." Another council member, a tall insect-like being, clicked its mandibles. "The question is, what do we do now? The humans have proven more formidable than we realized." "We do nothing," said a third member, older and wiser looking than the others. Humans have been peaceful members of the Confederation for 30 years. They kept their strength secret, but they never misused it. Until now, the first member argued. A human woman was attacked, Director Zara reminded them. Her husband responded within our laws, using a provision the Dravak themselves insisted upon. If anything, the humans have shown remarkable restraint. The debate continued, but the outcome was clear. Humans would remain part of the Confederation, but with a new status, one that acknowledged their true capabilities. That evening, Suji and Tai-Ho ate dinner in their quarters. A special delivery had arrived from the Dravak government, rare and expensive foods along with a formal letter of apology. Should we accept their gifts? Suji asked. It would be diplomatically wise, Tai-Ho replied. They're trying to save face. Suji picked at her food thoughtfully. Everything's different now. The way they look at us, talk to us. Even my research team treats me differently. Does it bother you? A little, she admitted. I earned their respect as a scientist. Now they respect me because they're afraid of what you can do, what any human might do. Tai-Ho understood. It will take time. Eventually they'll see us for who we are, not just what we can do. I hope so. Suji reached across the table and took his hand. Was it worth it? Tai-Ho thought about Ambassador Krell, about the decades humans had spent being looked down upon, about his wife's bruised face. Yes, he said finally. They needed to know that hurting one of us means dealing with all of us. Suji smiled, and that even the weakest human is still something to be feared. A message chimed on Tai-Ho's communicator. It was from Earth Command. New orders had arrived. He would be transferred soon to a Dravak border station where tensions were high. They needed someone who could handle the situation. They're not punishing you, Suji noted, reading over his shoulder. They're putting you where they need you most now. Now that everyone knows what we can do, Tai-Ho agreed. Later they stood by their window looking out at the stars. Hundreds of worlds were out there, home to thousands of alien species. For 30 years humans had hidden their true nature, letting others think they were weak. That time was over. What happens now? Suji asked softly. Tai-Ho put his arm around her shoulders. Now we stop pretending. We show them who we really are. Scientists and soldiers, explorers and diplomats. Strong enough to fight when needed, but wise enough to choose peace instead. Uji leaned against him, watching the stars. A new chapter was beginning for humanity among the stars, one where they no longer had to hide their strength. And it had all started because an alien punched a human woman, not knowing her husband was. Indeed human with all that truly meant.